world. The weather outside is not that cold, and if you take my hand, I'll walk with you to Georgia.
Hello and welcome to Country with Celine. I'm your host, Celine Shamarky. Today, we welcome Page Mackenzie to the show. Page has opened and played alongside Kenny Chesney, Jason Aldean, Brice and Lauren Alaina. That girl is a queen, by the way. She played at multiple festivals and is taking the country scene by storm. So today, we welcome Page.
Ain't got time for therapy. You better watch your backseat. I can't handle your lies. Tears for the woman I despise. It's for everything you didn't do and all the bullshit that you put me through. So A, B, C, D, E, F, U. So A, B, C, D, E, F, U.
Paige, how are you doing today?
I'm really good. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for asking. Now, you're located in Nashville, correct?
Yeah, I'm in Nashville, but I'm originally from Charleston.
Oh, okay.
South.
Got it. So, but how's the weather down in Nashville today? I want to ask.
It's been really beautiful today. I think we're getting a little bit of rain, but it's been hot and sunny and great.
Well, July 4th is like right around the corner. Do you have any plans?
I'm actually going to be playing in a small town called Decatur, Illinois, so I'll be up there for 2 shows. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's going to be a memorable July 4th.
Yeah, it should be a good time. I'm excited.
So let's just talk about your latest single, House. So take us through the whole meaning behind this song and the inspiration of how the song came to light.
Yeah, absolutely. So House, I wrote this actually quite some time ago. We wrote it like pre-pandemic, even a couple months before all of that started, with Taylor Bainham and David Michael, who are like 2 incredible writers here in Nashville. And I went in with this idea of like playing house, like you live with someone and you kind of just go through the emotions and not emotions, but emotions of just like the same thing every day. And you're not really happy. You're just doing what's comfortable and, you know, living and playing house with someone, but really it's not even a good state that you guys are in. But as the more we wrote it and the more it sat with me, the more it related to my parents and when they separated when I was younger. So that's kind of where it stems from, as far as like when you're young and you play with Barbies and you create this beautiful life in your 3-story mansion with your convertible and Ken's amazing, and you grow up and you realize that that's not the case, that love's actually really hard. And so that's kind of evolved into a song about my parents. And yeah.
But Bobby, don't get lonely, drunk on Chardonnay. Dinner don't get cold, and Ken don't come home late. The bed ain't just for sleeping, there's no sound of slamming doors. I don't wanna play house anymore.
It's very vulnerable, very emotional, but I was ready to put something out like that. Very, you know, kind of a heartstring tugger, but like, I don't know. It was nerve-wracking, but good.
It's a very vulnerable song for you to release that, especially, but it connects with so many people because like so many kids have gone through this. Like I myself have gone through that with my parents being divorced, and I was an only child. So hearing this song and watching the music video just brought me back completely. And I was like, wow, like I can relate to this like so much. It's such a beautiful song, beautiful meaning. And I can't wait to hear like more songs like this from you, because all the lyrics in that and how the song just flowed was so perfect. So I'm really excited to hear more from you, Paige.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. But now onto a sassier note. This song had to get brought up here. FU, released in 2020. I got 2 questions here for you. A, what is the story behind that one? And B, what did this person do when he heard about this song, she heard about this? What happened?
So I wrote this song with Brian Goins and Jenny Marvin like forever ago. I mean, I've been sitting on this song probably since I moved to Nashville, so like 4 or 5 years ago. And it was about a guy I dated, and he was just, I knew he was bad news. Like everybody was like, he's not committal, like don't do it. And then he broke up with me. You know, I started dating him and I was like, I'm going to change, you know, like I'm different for him, blah, blah. And he broke up with me via text message. So I was out on the road with Jenny. She is in a band called Two Way Crossing. And we pulled over because we had to do some stuff with the RV. And she's like, what do you want to write right now? And she's like, well, okay, how about this? If you could say one thing to so-and-so right now, what would it be? And I was like, I would say F you. And that's just how the whole song blossomed. And they let me open up for them a couple weeks later, and somebody at that show filmed it and sent it to the guy and was like, hey, just so you know, like, this song is about you. And I think he just sent back like a laughing emoji or like, oh well, I guess. So
26 and you wanna be free, but that shit don't fly with me. Ain't got time for therapy. You better watch your back seat. I can't handle your lies. D is for the woman I despise. E is for everything you didn't do and all the bullshit that you put me through. So A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, F, U.
but he knows, and it's been quite some time, so hopefully he's okay with it. I don't know.
Well, that's what happens when you date an artist. Of course, you're gonna have songs written about you eventually, whether you break up, whether you stay together. Like, that's where a lot of inspiration is pulled from, personal stories. That's awesome. Yeah, F you. That's such a sassy banger. Like a big F you. It's like all the guys who I've even dealt with in my past. I'm like, I like it. That was really good, Paige. Really good.
Thank
You're welcome. But what else can we expect from you this year?
Well, I'm still sitting on the release of House, and we just had that CMT picked it up, which we were really, really excited about. So they aired the music video. I've got some behind the scenes videos coming out for that, which I think are going to be really fun. And now I'm like currently on this journey to find like a summer bop, but I write sad music. That's just me. That's my thing. So I'm like trying to venture out with different writers and try to like get a little bit more happy music out there, but we'll see. The sad music is just where my heart lies. So we'll see how this summer goes with writing.
Well, that's how it always is. It's always easier to write like love songs or sad, sappy songs rather than writing like an upbeat summer tune or just an upbeat song in general. So I get where you're coming from with all of that. But hopefully we can get the creative juices going and flowing, that the summer song will be coming out soon.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Let's get to know you a little bit more, Paige. Where did you grow up?
So I am from Charleston, South Carolina. I was technically born in Florida, but we only lived there for like 2 months and immediately moved to Charleston. So Charleston's home, and I miss it a lot, very, very much. But now I've been in Nashville for about 5 years.
So how often do you go home and visit?
Quite a lot. We play down in Charleston a lot at like the Windjammer is one of my favorite venues to play at. There's just like any chance I can go to the beach or anything like that. And I've got a lot of my family have moved away, but my brother just recently moved back there. So I'll hopefully be down there a lot more to see him and visit friends and such like that.
And what part of Florida were you originally born in?
It's called Margate. Like, I could literally tell you nothing about that town. I don't know. That's just what my birth certificate says. But I do like Florida, so it's really, really close to Fort Lauderdale. So really close to there.
Okay, I have a place in West Palm, so like it's probably like around like that area there. Oh, that's awesome.
Right.
Florida is the best place. I swear, that Sunshine State. I miss it. But in Nashville, so you were just saying there's like beaches in Carolina, which honestly, off the record here, I did not know that there was beaches in like Carolina at all. I'm so blonde of me. I'm so sorry, everybody who lives in Carolina. But Nashville, I kept seeing like this, people post this stuff on Snapchat or on Instagram of this lake that you guys like all go to. Where is this? Like, it looks like such a party scene.
It's so awesome. So there's Percy and Old Hickory, but we always go out to Percy, and it's like we have this little spot where we drive up and you have to walk through the woods a little bit, but once you get through there, there's these awesome little like crevices of like tiny little beaches, I guess you could call them, calm water, like but people have jet skis out there. There's pontoon boats, and we were just out there a couple days ago, and it's nice. I was like, when I first moved here, I was like, ew, lake water. Like, I don't know about that. And like, I think I saw a dead fish like the first night I went out, and I was like, nope, lake's not for me. But now we go out there as much as we possibly can, and it's great. It's awesome out there.
Yeah, it looks like such a fun time. Like, it looks like everyone just goes out there and just parties like all day and just gets to chat with other people, meet new people out there.
Mhm.
But the lake, yeah, I don't know about the lake. You know, like, there's so many fish that I swear we don't even know about that live in like lakes, because here in Ontario, that's all we have are lakes, and it's just like,
Yeah,
ooh,
it's
that's so
that
crazy.
water for me. Like, I'm used to the ocean and stuff. I mean, then the ocean's not much better, but like, I'm just like the stagnant water. And when I see like the dead fish heads, I'm like, oh,
At
don't
least
touch me.
an ocean too, like, I feel like it's somewhat lighter than a lake. I feel like lakes are just like mucky and musty and like nasty.
Mhm.
With an ocean, like, yeah, it's still dark, but like, there's a difference, and you can tell that there's a difference.
Yeah, all
Um,
these things are like, shut up, don't talk about lakes like that.
yeah, it's like, no, we have to. So what made you want to decide to pursue a country music career?
Yeah, so my dad, he's not like into music or anything, but he can sing and he loves karaoke. And that's kind of like, I learned a lot from him. And he would always, like, I grew up with Lyle Lovett and Bill Withers and just like Frank Sinatra and things like that. But when I decided to switch over, like when I fell in love with country music, I was like, I try to match the years up close, but like I was 11 or 12 maybe. And Tim McGraw put out the Red Rag Talk song, and I was like, whoa, what was, like, it was the first conversation that my mom had to have with me. One about, I don't know if are you familiar with that song?
Mm-hmm.
Red,
Yeah.
have like the adult conversation of like, this stuff happens and you have to be careful, and you know, love is hard kind of conversation. And from then on, I was like, I love the storytelling aspect of country music. And I always get nervous with interviews because a lot of female artists are like, oh, Dolly and Reba and, you know, all these like wonderful, amazing, powerful country artists, women. But I honestly grew up with like Tim McGraw and Lone Star and Rascal Flatts. So like my influences were male artists. And then I remember being introduced to Shania Twain, and I was like, yeah, that's going to be me one day. Definitely going to be doing that one day. So I just kind of fell in love. I just love the songwriting aspect of country music.
The songwriting aspect, it tops. I swear to God, I say this in every interview, and people are going to be really pissed off with me for saying this, but like, bias aside, country music, the songwriting in that is just so different than any other genre. And like, people don't understand that. People who don't like country music, they'll never understand that because they never actually listen to country. They think it's all like hillbilly, red soul cup, and yeah, beer and all this stuff. But no, there's a lot of like, yeah, you have the good portion of that, but there's a lot of songs that are just meaningful, like will hit you in the heart type of songs. And people need to open up their eyes to country, because it's not just parties, it's like heart, like warming, heartbreaking, like all of that. And Shania Twain, she's queen. She's the queen. I swear, my country Canadian girl up here, gotta love her.
Love. I always like when people say they don't like country, and they'll be like, it's all what you said basically. And I'm just like, let me guide you to really amazing artists, because the gatekeepers in country music are letting just these, you know, bro country or, you know, these cliche country songs, because that's just what radio has. But then I'm like, if you come to Nashville, I'm gonna take you to a writer's round, and I'm gonna show you some of the best songs you've ever heard. Like, you're just not being fed to the generic radio station what country music is really all about. And don't get me wrong, I will jam to some like Country Girl Shake It For Me, or like, you know, I would. But then I'm like, you got to hear these raw, like hard songs, because people, and that's the thing with house, like it was scary to put that out because a lot of people will like turn away from it because it's too intense. You know what I mean? Like radio won't play it because it's just like, okay, we don't really need to talk about that, or like whatever. So yeah, but there are amazing people down here who write amazing songs, and they're just not being heard because they can't.
And now with the writers round, can anyone like go to that, or anyone can go to that?
Oh yeah, have you been to Nashville yet?
I've been, but like I only did like the touristy thing in 2019.
Yeah.
So I never actually got to like do other things.
There's writers rounds everywhere. There's probably like 100 writers rounds every night, and they're always pretty much free unless you go to like certain venues like the Listening Room or the Bluebird or whatever. But like I went to one last night and all my friends are playing, and anyone can walk in because it's just normal bars that put them on, which is really awesome when you come across one and you're like, if you meet a writer and you're like, where have you been? Where have you been? I needed this. So yeah.
Next time I come to Nashville, I think I really have to go to one of those. That'd be amazing.
No, I'll send you a list of places to go.
Awesome. Thanks, Paige. That'd be perfect. And now I want to ask, did you like go to school, like a Belmont University for like music, or did you just pick up the guitar and just start singing and then just went from there?
My brother tried to teach me when I was younger, and I had like the patience of a 3-year-old, and I was like, no. Yeah. So then I just learned from YouTube. That's how I learned how to play guitar. And like, I'm not a guitar, you know what I mean? Like I can play enough to get me through. But I ended up going to college freshman year for lacrosse. I went on a scholarship.
Wow.
And they didn't have any kind of like musical program or anything like that. So I ended up I wanted to go to Belmont, but it was like $30,000 a semester or something ridiculous. And my mom was like, I love you, but no. So I ended up going to College of Charleston and kind of like manipulated my degree. So I have a degree for arts management, which is like nonprofit work. Mm-hmm. But within, I was able to take I took a songwriting class. I took like a music industry class. So I kind of like manipulated that degree to kind of focus on it, but it's an arts management degree. But no, I would have loved to have gone to Belmont. I remember coming to Nashville and going to a Belmont country showcase that the kids put on, like the students. Oh. And it was like a legitimate concert, like that you pay lots of money to go to. And I was like, you guys do this here? Like what? It was.
Yeah, there's so much talent that has come out of Belmont. Like I've spoken to quite a bit of people who attended that school, and like their voices, I'm like, what do they teach you in there? Like, how do you sing like that? Like just by going to school, like just by learning, it's pretty crazy how that all happens.
It's unreal. They can get songwriter degrees. I'm like, that's amazing. Like amazing. So
yeah. Belmont would have been cool to go to, but that's really expensive. I mean, and there's so many other routes that you could have taken to like get to where you are. Not everybody has to go to that school, right?
Yeah. I told my mom, I was like, man, I'm glad I got my education because no one can ever take that away from me. But I'm like, man, I wish I would have moved to Nashville right out of high school. And she's like, I know. I'm like, but it's okay. Education.
I think everybody has that dream that like years down the road, they wish they would have just done this like right out of the gates of high school. But realistically, high school goes to grade 12 and like you're 17, 18 when you graduate. What do you really know? You know what I mean? Like, what do you know? You don't even know life at that point. You still want to party with your friends and you work a part-time job still. Like, you don't understand like the concept of life. So they should really there should be a 2-year like program or where they actually like teach you stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh, like how to like open a 401k and write checks and like maybe things that you do get insurance and medical.
Instead of that like Y plus Z equals Z, it's like, where the heck am I going to use this? Like where? Right?
You ain't.
And now I was reading on your bio, you were on the X Factor.
Yeah.
Okay. When was that exactly? How long ago was that?
I like literally was so long. I was like fresh. I was out of high school freshman. So it's been a minute. I was in a duo with a girl named Bianca Gardner. She's out in LA and she's doing like EDM pop music. She's killing it out there. But she was my best friend from high school and we were in a duo and then we had a falling out, you know, because when I look back, I wanted to do country music. She wanted to do pop music. So we had this like falling out and X Factor came to Charleston and we hadn't talked in a while. And so I went and auditioned and I had no idea she was auditioning. And we went really far. Like we were talking to producers and they were asking us all these questions. And we're like, well, after I found out she was doing the same thing, I was like, wow, this is kind of crazy, whatever. And I ended up never hearing from them. And then I was at an internship. So yeah, it was college. I was in an internship. And I got a call from the X Factor people and they were like, hey, we have auditions in New Orleans I always say it wrong and everyone from New Orleans yells at me, New Orleans, but they called and they were like, hey, we want you to come out to New Orleans and possibly audition. You may or may not, we don't know, but it's your call. We can't pay for anything, but if you want to try, come on out. So my mom was like, hey, we'll make it like a vacation. Let's go. So I end up going and I'm, talking to producers, they're filming, and I see that Bianca's is there too. And I'm like, that's weird, but it was her birthday. And I was like, well, maybe it's just a coincidence. And they're like keeping us separate and secret the whole time. And like, I went and auditioned and I got 2 no's and 2 yeses. And then Bianca got 2 no's, 2 yeses. But really what they were trying to do is they ended up bringing us back together. So it was like this whole thing. So we got 4 yeses together. They're like, we want to see you guys together. We think you're better together. And it was really, there's a lot to go with that story. That's like the shortest version of it. But yeah, we got 4 yeses and we got to go out to LA, and then we didn't make it past there, but that's okay.
It's okay. It's still a story to tell. You can still say
the show next season anyways, so it wasn't us.
That's true. Oh, that's crazy. That's an interesting story. I didn't think that they would actually do that. Like, they put thought into that. Like Wow, it's interesting to hear.
Yeah. Come to find out, they had tried to do it with a different duo in Charleston, and it didn't work out because we got to talk to the doctor, and they're like, didn't work out with them. So that's why we took you guys to Louisiana and did it there. So yeah, it's all about the story. It's all about what kind of thing can they do to like make the ratings go up. So I'm always those shows, I think it's amazing and it does wonderful things for careers, but I'm like, you sneaky little snakes.
Yeah, that's what they really are when you really think about it. Like, I've spoke to people who have been on like those shows like The Voice, American Idol. They're really like mischievous behind the scenes. Like, they know exactly what they're doing. Like, even with like reality TV shows that we watch, like if you ever go back, are you familiar with Jersey Shore?
Yeah.
Okay. So I used to watch that show. Like, I fiend that show when I was like 12 years old. Okay. Like, I was not supposed to be watching that, but I was. And now it's like, when I go back and watch it, I'm like, oh my God, I watched this. This was so stupid. Like, it's so scripted. Like, you can tell.
Oh yeah.
It's just for show, right?
Right. It's crazy what they're doing, but that's show.
Yeah. It's fun to watch. It's entertainment, right? Yeah. So I want to ask you one more question before we play a little game. You played at multiple like festivals, like events and stuff like that. Which one would you say was your favorite? Because I also was reading you played a Whiskey Jam. That's pretty sick.
Yeah. So now that you said that, I don't know. Whiskey Jam is such an honor to play at. So that was just like, thank you. So blessed. But CCMF was probably the coolest because it was the first thing that I had done and like that was big. And so when we got there, like it was cool to just be treated like, these major artists, like they're escorting us and they're walking us to the tent and people were asking for autographs. And this was like my first experience with that, and like pictures and people waiting in line to like talk to me. And I'm like, this is insane. And then I shared the lineup with all those amazing artists and I got to talk to so many people. And I was actually in this, like, it's called like the Blue Moon tent. So you get to do like an acoustic performance, and Luke Combs was there and I got to take a picture with him and talk to him. And then Chris Lane was playing on like the bigger stage across from where we played. And I got to talk to him and he's like, listen, I was on that stage last year and now I'm on this stage this year. He's like, just keep going. Like, you got this. And I was just like, oh my God, thank you. I love you. Thank you so much. So that was, we're all just like, whoa, this is so cool. But that was probably my favorite one.
That's like a glimpse into like the big leagues. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's really cool. And it's nice to hear other artists, how they're humble, because you've heard our share of like, artists that are not up to the standard we think they're at. But but it's nice to hear that like Chris Lane was like, then Luke Combs, oh my gosh, that's cool. I think I would just be like, I don't know what I would be doing at that point. I would just be like freaking out the whole time.
It was really cool. just like, hey, and I hate asking for pictures because my anxiety is just like spikes. But I was just, I have a picture, and he's actually friends with a guy I went to high school with. So I was like trying to connect with that and not be like, I'm not. So there's a term in Nashville. It's called a germ. And it's like, if you fangirl over artists, like within Nashville and stuff, like it's just kind of a turn off because everyone's here to like relax and not be like bombarded by fans and stuff. So like, you never want to be called a germ. And so I was like, just trying to play it cool with him. And I was like, I know someone, we're good, right? Like, I'm a fan, but I'm not a crazy fan. Like, I'm not going to stalk you later, I promise. But it was really nice.
A germ. Okay, noted. Never to be called a germ. Okay.
So if someone calls you that, punch him in the face.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a fan of people, but I'm not like that obsessive, crazy fan that would like attack you and those fans. Like, I'm not like that, but I'll stay far away from that term. I'm gonna make sure no one ever.
There's like respecting the art, and then just like it's like Keith Urban's getting coffee and somebody like runs up to him and causes a scene. Like, it's just super disrespectful here, especially like when they live here. So I think that's just where the term came from, is like, just be cool. Be cool.
Cool, yeah. You gotta act like you're like them, like they're your friend. Just like leave them, let them be, and then just it'll be cool,
But there's one artist that I probably would do that to.
Who?
Katy Perry. Katy Perry all day. I'd probably cry. I would cry.
Katy Perry. Oh my, she's still on American Idol, right? Yeah, she's still on American Idol.
She is. Yeah.
Her songs, like I remember when her first song came out, like I Kissed a Girl, and like everyone was like, oh, what's going on?
You're like listening to it, and then my mom's like, what is that?
She's like, turn that off. What are you listening to? Like, oh, this new song, I have to. It's Katy Perry, Mom.
Oh, I love her. I love her so much. She's great. But
hey, maybe one day down the road, you and Katy can like get on a track together. You never know what life will throw at you.
Don't. Well, I'll come back to this interview and I'll be like, look.
Hey, we said it on June 30th of 2021. It happened. Oh my gosh. Okay, so before I let you go, Paige, we're gonna play a little game I like to call Country with Celine Rapid Fire. So basically I'm gonna shoot you out a couple questions. They're not gonna be like fast. You don't have to answer fast, but they're to get like the listener to like actually know you even more and get like some personal stuff out of you.
Absolutely. Let's go.
So the first one is, what is your favorite thing about your career?
My favorite thing, I think my favorite thing about this career is just like constantly being around people who are so much better than me. And that sounds crazy, but like, I love being surrounded by people who make me want to be better. And I love every day I just meet incredible people and incredibly talented songwriters and singers and stuff. So just like the connections and the bonds you make with everybody, and it's going through the same thing, but they can teach you and keep you going and moving forward.
Well, that's how you can better yourself, surrounding yourself with people who you think are better than you. Like you want to be at their level, so you just keep bettering yourself, and then it all works out in the end. Okay, so what is your most embarrassing moment?
Ever in life?
Ever, yes. You could do music-wise or like something that happened to you when you were a kid, like whatever you want.
Oh, as a kid and music. I don't ever sing the national anthem because I will, but it scares the bejesus out of me because when I was 8, my mom made me sing it for a Super Bowl party and I messed up the words and it has caused me some serious blockage. Like I know the words, but when I go and I get in front of people, it's like my mind's just like, phew, and and everyone just stared at me in the house, and there was like 50 people, and they were like, that's not it. And ever since then, I think I've sang it like twice, and that's about it, like scarred for life.
That's like a big fear for artists, is to mess up the anthem. Now, imagine if you were at like Yankee Stadium or like just perform like on a football field, like performing the national anthem. That happens.
Nope,
right? What is one thing that you will never do again? Don't say it's sing the national anthem.
I'll have at some point. One thing I will never do again. Ooh, I don't know. That's hard because I feel like you learn from it. I don't know. What have people said? I feel like that'll spark some.
You know what? You're the first one that I ever asked that question to. I was like, might as well see, maybe eat like a certain food. Ever like tried something and you're like, nah, this is not for me?
No, because I eat everything. I am like, I will eat anything. I don't care what it is. What would I never do? I I
you
would.
can't answer it, we can go on next question. Don't worry.
Well, I don't know what we're allowed to talk about, but I will never do bottomless mimosas ever again.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. You know, you don't expect it to hit you, but then sometimes it just creeps up at you at the end. You're like, oh Lord, what did I do?
Champagne? Sneaky.
Very sneaky. Who knows you best?
I would have to say, oh, it's so cliche, but my mom. My mom knows me. We're super similar. Like, I am extremely sassy. But I'm like very like, I'll always have my friends back. But if someone starts like messing with them, I'm like jump at them kind of person. And my mom's the same way. So I get a lot of like this. I have the same traits as her, and we always constantly have like. I'm like, Mom, stop doing that. And she'd be like, yeah, you stop doing that too, because you know how it's gonna turn out. And I'm like, okay. So we're really, really similar. So definitely my mom.
That's so cute. That's adorable. How often do you buy clothes?
A lot. Well, it's so silly, but like if I buy like a staple item to be on stage, I don't want to wear it again because the photos are the same. So I buy cheap things, but I rotate very often through those things. So a lot.
So
I'm literally all tomorrow.
What's your favorite store online to shop at then?
Ooh, it's hard because like all these places that I used to shop at are now being like, they're getting in trouble just for like fast fashion and things like that. So like, I used to shop at Shein a lot, which now I try not to, but I love, do you guys have a Lizard Thicket, or is that more of like a Southern US store?
I've never heard of that.
So it's just the cutest little boutique. There's one in Nashville, there's one in Charleston, but Lizard Thicket's really cute. Very like Southern, like fringe, and like very, very simple stuff, but very good stuff.
Fringe. I need fringe. I want like that, you know, those fringe jackets with the like, I want that so bad.
Well, they're my favorite.
From that store?
Oh yeah, they're also like a black, like, and it's got fringe coming down. It's the best.
Yeah, I want something like that so bad. I swear I'll be the only one here in like Toronto wearing that, but I don't care. You know,
I love it. Fringe is my favorite.
It's so good. It's fringe and sequins. I have a thing with sequins, like
oh yeah.
I love it. But thank you so much, Paige, for joining me today on Country with Celine. It was so fun chatting with you. I feel like we've been friends for like so long. This conversation was awesome. But everybody, go stream House. It is out now and it's available on all platforms.
Do it to it.
But Bobby, don't get lonely. Drunk on Chardonnay. The dinner don't get cold. And Ken don't come home.